Although one thing that's remarkably different about the US Capital Region just now is the sudden availability of a lot of IT talent at all levels, folks who've been laid off from government positions, highly qualified people available in not insignificant numbers, I've heard. All of that, of course, flowing out of the Department of Government Efficiency, reductions in staff. I want to start out with this issue of people available. Sam, it was you who mentioned this to me when we were speaking before the event. You were saying that really the labor market in DC, I mean, how long has it been since we've heard, I'm not having any trouble finding people? That's pretty unusual. But talk about that, would you, Sam? Get us going?
Sure. No, I think the dynamics in the labor market have certainly shifted over the last 18 months, maybe even less than that, from a place where we were really bending over backwards, just trying to make sure that folks were sticking with us, to now feeling like there's a lot of talent out there, and a lot more flexibility where we weren't going to be able to ask folks to come into offices 3, 4, 5 days a week. Some of that has shifted as well now that the government has moved back to the offices as well. So, I mean, there's certainly downsides to a lot of this, but from a hiring standpoint, it does present some opportunities for organizations like ours.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Have you indeed hired some folks who've been laid off? I mean, you mentioned over the past 18 months. Really, isn't it over the past 8, 9 months that?
Yeah, I guess more like 8, 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
And yeah, there's definitely been folks exiting the old administration who've come to work for us. And yeah, it's great to have that talent, and to be able to leverage some of the experiences that they bring with them.
Of course, of course. What kind of people have you brought in to so others might eat?
Well, the best example is really not even the person on the IT side, but on the social media side, who had been working for the administration, the prior administration, and has come to really helped us to modernize some of our social media.
Oh, terrific, terrific. So, what about you, Brian? Has this touched your hiring?
I mean, not really. So we're national and we are 100% work from home. So all 800
Oh,
employees across the US are scattered all over the place. So we get hit with different things depending on the region and the localization. But for the most part, we get to choose where we want to hire from and where they're at in location. So that's a benefit for us.
right. Yeah, good. Marty, how about you? CFA, and you're up in Maryland, right?
Yeah, I'm in Maryland, and I wanted to correct one thing on my background. I just recently left CFA Institute after 6 years. So
Oh,
yeah, so I'm independently consulting at this point.
mhm.
Yeah, what we found though with talent is that you just saw a couple of years ago that you had the Great Resignation, and now you fast forward and with both the advent of AI and a tightening labor market, you're seeing a complete different shift in the way you look at talent, the way you recruit, the way you find talent, where you find talent, and then how you build your teams. So we're seeing more of a need for skills in the natural processing languages, more of the softer skills when you think about product development and how you actually build that out. So talent actually is becoming a source of I think great development, and we're finding that folks out of university, early stage in their career, very adaptable to changing, and that's what you're seeing now with the adoption of AI is a significant change in the way you do everything from product development to the way you procure technology, and then the way you bring it into the organization.
Mhm. Okay, so how are you finding those folks? Talk about really what is the substance of the change that you've described in terms of what you do and where you go to find it?
Well, I think there's a significant shift in looking at specific skills that you need, such as data skills and cybersecurity skills as you look at AI. The other is growing talent. So one of the other roles I have is I'm the vice chairman at Montgomery College, and we put together a cybersecurity development lab to actually develop and grow people from a cyber perspective, all the way to life sciences and the way people would introduce that type of technology in the healthcare industry. So, it's really a shift in how you're looking at it, and then where you want to go find talent. But I find the university system to be really a great feeder to really building out the skills that folks need, and then being able to adopt that very early, as opposed to folks that may have not learned some of the basics. I still think that from a development perspective that you're still going to have coding and the ability to develop and introduce IT into an organization. But I think there's significant ways to develop it with good leadership.
Yeah, I know the universities are scrambling to meet the needs of folks like everybody on this screen. We're at that moment where some are ahead and some are most profoundly not. So I think every university or every training institution that is developing people for us is really scrambling right now to come up with the teaching materials and be sure that they're developing the kind of people we really need. Regarding the capital region, Andrea, let me turn to you. You're kind of on the other side of that coin. Have you lost any people to the DOGE?
Yeah, so one, congratulations to you guys. I'm glad the hiring is going well. I actually think this whole situation has presented a huge gap in how we hire, how we process, how we interview, and all of these things. So for me, I'm on my way out. So September 30th, I will be sunsetting my government career and moving into consulting and actually focusing on exactly what you're talking about, which is trying to do some teaching, schedule, training classes, because there's actually a huge gap right now. So for me, I'm pretty much old school, 20 years plus technology. You start from the ground up. We don't have that anymore. We don't have people that are coming up from their careers, starting in help desk and the building blocks of all of these things. So they're coming in later on and they're missing a lot of fundamentals. And so it's very hard to evolve in technology if you don't have those original building blocks. They're jumping, way ahead. And this is where the folks who are looking for work now who do have tenure, right? It's almost like you're looking for a balance of tenure and this fundamental skills, but then you're also looking at the ability to evolve and be flexible and change with the technology, right? So it's a balance that you're trying to strike, because if you're too set in your old technology, you can't evolve to new technologies. You just can't, absorb that information fast enough. But if you're only doing the new stuff, then you're missing out on the fact that all we have right now is old technology that has to be modernized and brought into this new tech. So you have to be able to understand both. So I think that presents some challenges right now when you talk about hiring straight out of the university versus hiring people that are trying to get jobs. I personally, my whole office was RIF'd outside of 5 people. So
how many people was that?
Altogether, so we would have had about 70 FTE. That was our hiring ceiling. And at the time, I believe it was at least 40 individuals. And then that, of course, we have hundreds of contractors. There's a lot of different people that were impacted. So we lost all of that talent. And then, of course, not just myself, but some of my peers, other CIOs they also left. So there is a big consolidation at the State Department where instead of having a federated model, because we have so many distinct mission spaces, they consolidated one CIO for the whole agency. And remember, we're a global operation. So how that's going to work is yet to be seen, but we lost a tremendous amount of talent. And right now they are in the flood of employees looking for work, and they're actually having major challenges. We've had a lot of great companies from private sector come in and try to help. But I think it's just, there is a flood, and there has to be a better way than just sorting through resumes and, being in the pile. I think it's a little bit outdated at this point, and we need to really look at how we're hiring the type of talent we really need. And as far as the universities and training, I think that's a big deal too, because some of the things that I noticed that we're missing, having been in all of these different roles, is you can be a technologist, but if you're going to be a customer-facing technologist, you have to have soft skills and understand how to also speak to them in a way that they're going to understand, because they're non-technical. And that's a huge piece that's also missing. People won't adopt technology if they don't understand it, if it's too complex. So I feel like this has actually been a reckoning in some way of all of this new tech, but how are we going to manage it? How are we going to get the right people? And then not just the right people, but create the right people, because they're not just coming out of, an oven.
Let me make sure I've got this right. So you had 70 or 80 people, I think you said, and now you have 5?
There are 5.
Yeah. And how are you still functioning at all? I mean,
I've stepped away
Right. So,
because
but
I'm
you're one of the five, is that right? Or were you one of those
there's
who was
five. Yeah,
yeah.
so I actually opted for the DRP along with a few other CIOs, which basically puts us out, sitting out basically until September 30th, where then we can exit the government or go back in. I personally am going to be exiting, but other folks, you know, they can look, but with the hiring freezes, it's really hit or miss right now. So out of all of the individuals in that office, there was only 5 people, and you have to think about that mission space. We're talking about an over $1 billion operation across the globe. And our group was responsible for all of that technology, all of those applications. If you think about our logistics management, all of our diplomatic pouch and mail, moving vehicles, moving items, moving people, like there's so many different things, even for the whole government, because of course the Department of State is the authority overseas. So it impacts all of the government, any of the military, DHS, anybody who's overseas. So there's a lot, and how that's going to be managed is we don't know. I don't know yet.
That was going to be my next question.
All I can say is good luck, guys.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's already been a few weeks that these people have been gone, right? So what is happening?
We have no idea. I know that they're consolidating, so they're going to be moving folks. They're bringing in new leadership. The challenge, of course, that everybody knows is it's all great to have new people come in, but then you lose the continuity. You lose the information, all of the decisions that were made, the reasons why they were made, just so much information. And then you kind of begin spinning your wheels and doing it all over again. So hindsight, I wish we would have had a better opportunity to kind of show and had a better handoff of information to create continuity. But the way things happened was so quickly, nobody really had a chance to speak and really kind of say, hey, this is what we need to do, justification. I think it just came down to a lot of people, you know, everybody's scattering, trying to save their jobs. You'd be surprised what happens when you're in that type of environment. You know, friends become foes, and it's pretty intense.